In this episode of FullDroopTV, Project F-150 gets more power, then goes out to the desert with Project Silverado. FullDroopTV starts now. This episode of FullDroopTV is brought to you in part by Air Raid.
Well, after all these weeks of building our Prerunners, the F-150 and the Silverado, we're finally going to be able to take them out to the desert and see what these trucks can do. Now, before we leave the shop, we've got a few more things left on our F-150 to complete, like installing an Air Raid intake and a flash pack tuner by Superchips. So once we get those parts installed, we're going to be heading out to the deserts of Nevada. Now, Nevada is where a lot of the off-road racing happens here in the Las Vegas area, so we're going to be able to run both trucks over the dry lake bed, some fire roads, and even sections of the race course. Now, we know that there's a lot of Chevy fans and die-hard Ford fans, and we want you guys to pay attention so you can see which truck you think performed the best while out in the desert. So, only thing left to do is get these new parts installed.
We wanted to do the same power modifications that we did to the Silverado on this F-150. And you already saw us install our MagnaFlow exhaust. Now we're going to do the air raid intake. And the first step is to remove the factory air box and intake tube. Before we install the new air raid system, we have to remove a couple parts off of the old factory intake. One being this rubber grommet, the other being the mass airflow sensor here. Reinstall the factory rubber seal. And the mass airflow sensor. Install the rubber grommet and aluminum fitting into the air raid intake tube. Install the two rubber grommets on the inner fender. Assemble the two cool air dam panels using the provided hardware. With the cool air dam assembled, move on to the air filter adapter. Install the cool air dam using the provided hardware. Install the urethane coupler hose with the hose clamps on, but don't tighten them up yet. Install the air raid intake tube. Install the brackets on the intake tube. Reconnect the mass airflow sensor and the breather tube. Install the air raid air filter. Tighten up all the hose clamps. One of the last things to do on the air raid intake is install this rubber gasket and then go through all the bolts and make sure they're all tight.
Well, just like Austin said earlier, we want to do the same mods that we did on our Silverado to this F-150. So now that our air raid intake is installed, we're going to be installing this flash pack kit by Superchips. Now it plugs right into your OBD2 sensor down here, and aside from the power gains that we're going to get using this tuner, we also want to show you that you can adjust the tire size so it'll match what we have on our F-150 now. So after you plug it in, it's going to give you some options. Now we want to tune the vehicle, and to get to the tire adjustments, we're going to go to the advanced tune. All right, we're going to be doing the 87 octane tune so we don't have to pay for premium gas. And the first thing we're going to do is jump down here to the tire size. All right, we're at 37 inches, so we're going to press OK. And we accept. And it's really that easy. Now, one of the things that you'll need to do when you first get your Superchips Flash Pack is you will have to log on to superchips.com and register it. It'll also give you the ability to download the latest tunes in case they made any updates. But really, 10 minutes and you've got more horsepower. You can adjust the tire size. It's that easy.
Our Dixon Brothers long travel kit installs into the factory holes in the frame. Now these lower A-arm holes are slotted, and Ford did that to create some camber and caster adjustability. And that's great for on-road driving, but during off-road use, the force exerted on the lower part of the tire can sometimes shift the arm inside that slot. So to correct that, we gave SPC Performance a call, and they sent us their camber and caster adjustment kit for the F-150. This will allow you to adjust your camber up to 2 degrees and your caster up to 3 degrees. Just spin the cam around, and you can adjust the arm to whatever position you need. Then once it's tightened up, you know the arm's not going to move under off-road use.
We're setting up the JVC addiction cams on the trucks for point-of-view footage. This is a great opportunity to be able to watch our long travel suspension at work. While Austin finishes setting them up, let's take a look back at how Project Silverado and Project F-150 were transformed into Prerunners. Project Silverado started out as a stock 2007 two-wheel drive Chevy Silverado. It first got Fiberworks fiberglass fenders and bedsides. Then 37-inch Mickey Thompson Baja MTZ tires, KMC Enduro wheels, and a front long travel kit from LSK Suspension with sway-away shocks and bump stops. A Prerunner front bumper was fabricated from tube. Then we added an ABS plastic balance, aluminum skid plate, and KC Highlights LED off-road lights. For the rear, we fabricated a bed cage, then added sway-away bypass shocks and Deaver long travel leaf springs. The rear bumper was fabricated from tube with rolled aluminum panels with an integrated spare tire carrier. Then, to give both trucks more power, we installed an air raid cold air intake, Superchips tuner, and MagnaFlow exhaust. Project F-150 is a 2007 Ford four-wheel drive F-150. We installed Fiberworks fiberglass fenders and bedsides. For the front suspension, we installed a Dixon Brothers Racing long travel kit with sway-away shocks and bump stops. We fabricated a bolt-on front bumper out of tube and added an aluminum skid plate and KC Highlights LED off-road lights. In the rear, we installed Deaver long travel leaf springs, fabricated a bolt-in bed cage, and added sway-away bypass shocks. The rear bumper is bolt-on and fabricated out of plate steel. The truck sits on KMC Addict wheels wrapped in 37-inch Mickey Thompson Baja MTZ tires. Now let's see what these trucks can do in the desert. We were really happy with the suspension upgrades on the F-150, even bumped and strapped at 14 inches of wheel travel. We maintained a very comfortable ride off-road without sacrificing any on-road drivability. The 16 inches of travel on the front of our Silverado really soaks up these deep rollers at high speeds. The four-wheel drive in our F-150 really helped the truck track straight at high speeds on the dry lake bed. Nevada offers a wide variety of terrain. We ran sections of the race course to really put the Prerunners to the test. Hydraulic bump stops absorb the last 2 inches of bump travel, preventing suspension bind, and it slows the suspension to prevent a hard hit to the frame. Project Silverado is able to slide around the corners with ease due to the 2-wheel drive and the power outers we installed. The desert is a very unforgiving environment. All of our aftermarket parts perform flawlessly under these extreme conditions. After hours of testing, we are very happy with the performance of both trucks. Without these modifications, the trucks would never be able to maintain a high rate of speed over this rough terrain. FDTV Talk is presented by Prerunner Maniac.
Welcome to FDTV Talk, where we answer your questions on air. And today's question comes from Chase, and he asks,
I was wondering if it would be preferable to have a Prerunner be either automatic or a 5-speed manual.
That's a great question, Chase, and for me personally, I'd have to go with an automatic transmission. Now think about it, if you're running over rough terrain at a real high speed and you have a manual transmission, well, you got to steer, work the shifter and the clutch. It might be a little bit too much to deal with. Now most off-road racers, they're going to also use an automatic transmission, but they're going to use a manually shifted automatic. They don't just put it in drive and let the transmission choose the gear that they're in. They manually shift to whatever gear that they want. Now, The other part of this is going to be the type of terrain that you're driving on. If you just use your vehicle for trail riding or something like that, a manual transmission might work for you. Even if you do a little rock crawling, a manual transmission is good to help you bump up on some of the steps that you might incur. So I hope that answers your question and sheds a little bit of light on which transmission would work best for you. Now remember, if you've got a question that you want answered on air, visit FullDroopTV.com and click on the FDTV Talk icon. Austin and I had a great time out in the desert. We finally had a chance to see what both our pre-runners could do, but we want to hear from you. Visit our website, FullDroopTV.com, and cast your vote and leave your comments. You tell us which truck you thought performed best out in the desert. Now, if you want a closer look at both our projects we built, we're going to be at the Off-Road Expo, October 5th and 6th at the Pomona Fairplex in Pomona, California. You'll be able to meet the cast, get a closer look at both these trucks. Also at the show, you're going to see race trucks, other pre-runners. It's just an all-around great show. Anything off-road is at this show. Now this wraps up our last episode of Season 1 for Full Droop TV, and we're already in the works planning Season 2. So make sure you check out our website so you can get news and updates. So until next time, we'll see you in the dirt. Finally get
With the
If you're driving over the rough, how difficult is it going to be at the Off-Road Expo in the premiere? Austin and I had a great...
Vroom, vroom.